I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
What's ready? We do it every morning. That's cool. 1 minute.
Yes, Joe, I need it.
Yeah, that should actually go first.
First item of business is nominations for officers, president and vice president.
I will make a nomination that we nominate Jeremy Overton as the president of the county council.
Second.
Together.
Nomination for vice president.
I nominate Craig Blue.
Any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? All in favor of Jeremy and Craig as president and vice president?
Aye.
Opposed?
Mr. President, before we continue,
Go ahead.
I would like, obviously, he hasn't been here for a minute, but
Certainly.
I would like to recognize Bill McConnell publicly at our meeting. He recently, as we all are aware, resigned after his 100th birthday. How many years did we come up with total service? 60, almost 70 years in the civil service to our community, whether it be Princeton or Gibson County. So I just like to go on record and recognize him for that and give him a attaboy.
Thank you. Did everybody get a chance to look at the minutes from the meeting? 14th? Any changes, corrections, additions, deletions? If not, we'll approve them as written. We did receive a treasurer's report,
Yeah, the monthly treasurer's report.
but no clerk.
No clerk.
Okay. Everybody get their copy of the treasurer's report. All right, department reports. You got anything for us?
Yes, on the park board, so you have on the park board, going to your house, and current appointment, with 1 year left on his term, that he has decided to resign from the park board. So, right now, Gwen Hopkins, she was a judge appointment, and her term was up at the end of the year. She would like to, park board would like to have Gwen finish Will's appointment of the 1 year. So you guys would accept Will's resignation, appoint Gwen as your appointment to the park board. I'll take care of you guys for next year, and then decide what we want to do there. There has been, I think there is, the judge appointment is open right now. If there is somebody that's interested in that, the judges to appoint to finish out the park board. I know it was the first year, and Ryan Blackhawk is the president now. Jim Hook is going to be vice president. Gwen was his treasurer. It's going to be Rachel Johnson's treasurer, and the through extension office, she goes going to be the secretary this year. Of course, you're going to decide your appointment. You either accept Will's resignation and appoint Gwen for the final year of that term.
Okay. Thanks. Sheriff's Department.
I provided you copies of the money that was collected. Copy of the jail population for December. And I also gave you a copy, Chairman's copy.
He asked if we left money in the edit budget for a police car. I feel like we separate police and highway equipment.
We always take a police car out of the misdemeanor.
I know we had that one.
We had that, and then it was out of the, it was.
We did one out of edit, one out of misdemeanor, right? Yeah,
You think?
Moved out of county general, so
correct.
misdemeanor for one.
I thought edit was,
Yeah.
I don't know for sure.
I'm pretty sure edit was one.
Do you know for sure?
It was.
Cause up until the last minute, we were gonna leave it in the sheriff's budget. But we didn't end up doing that.
Well, it's not been in this budget for a minute, a couple of
But
years.
we were going to put it though.
Oh,
We'll
You
get
need two
you,
of
we'll get it
these,
figured
right?
out. We'll get that figured out for you by the end of the day.
Then also, the only other thing is, we're still 9 jailers short. And 1 dispatcher short. We're testing this Saturday for dispatch and jail. We've only got 2 applications for each position. If any of those even show up. And we just started testing for the 2 deputy opening positions. Done that this past Saturday, done the physical and written. And so we're still gonna have to run ads for 1 more position. We had 5 applicants, only 3 showed up and only 1 survived. So it's tough.
Any other department reports? Health department? Nope.
We have our numbers there. Year to date, will be on the meeting. There's some, the only update that I have is, we are averaging, a little over 60 new COVID patients a day.
is this? Stupid question, who knows? If you look at the, went up October, November, December last year, is weather related to this, or is this just?
When you're inside.
Okay.
And then you have the holidays, and so we all know that if you're inside, it spreads easier. And then, of course, we have this new variant that spreads.
Gotcha.
easier. We are seeing a lot of breakthrough cases. Usually they're not very sick, but if people are, especially if you're not vaccinated and boosted, you're not considered fully vaccinated at this point. And so the people that maybe just got either their Johnson or Moderna or Pfizer vaccine, and it's been over 6 months, their immunity is waned so much, this variant it's making them sick. However, the majority of them, like I said, when we're following, they're not horribly sick. So that's the plus side of that. But we still are taking vaccines every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all day long by walk-in. And so as of now, we still have all 3 vaccines, as well as the pediatric Pfizer vaccine. And we're doing that as a walk-in now also. So anybody can come and get vaccinated. We will quit carrying the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The state prefers us to get Pfizer and Moderna because they feel like it's a little more effective. So once our Johnson & Johnson expires that we have currently, we will not be carrying Johnson & Johnson going forward. But, and like I said, we tested 78 people out of our trailer yesterday. And so the public is utilizing our testing site very much. So we're seeing a lot of activity through there. And then just lots of questions with the news on. We're getting lots of calls. 1 minute.
It looks like positive news on the deaths, like the December numbers. Are those current, you think, or is there a lag?
No.
Looks like a lot better than this time
Well,
fall of last year, so
well, and
that's,
that's kind of, when we were hitting November, December last year, we were just getting the elderly vaccinated. So it definitely, the vaccine is definitely slowing down again. What we're seeing, nationwide, I'm not sure what all those statistics are, but from our point, we are definitely seeing that the vaccine is helping make the benefit.
thank you. On.
We got a couple things I need to talk to you about. One of them, you remember back in November, I asked about a part-time basis. When we, part-time stuff we have right now. So anyway, we guys have to check on the insurance and just different things, but we've done all right. If you're fine with it, we just need, I guess I need your blessing to look at it and add a line. So, I guess Wendy would be putting something in for, we saw $12 an hour for a possible first responder. I don't know what you guys are thinking, and
That was for like fire departments or whatever, that more or less just to drive truck, drive ambulances.
basically, I mean, that's the road, gonna be their main purpose, and that's one of the two. We're trying to, put in the process of working up a, more or less a class to teach everybody, if we take new people on, specifically driving, with the equipment, how to operate some of the equipment, stuff that's within their realm of training. So we're just trying to make sure everything is up and going, but I want to make sure it's not going to cost more money. It's just filling holes that we don't have people for at times. And so,
Keep your truck moving.
yeah. And, right now, our basic EMTs are making, part-time ones are making $13.10. This would be less than that, but again, it will keep, somebody staffed on the truck. That is, we can get them, everybody's fighting the same problem, like I was hearing the sheriff speak up. Everybody's fighting the same problem, trying to get employees.
I don't see any problem with it, do you?
I don't have a problem at all.
We just need to add it to the salary ordinance next month, I guess, and create a line.
So we're gonna call it a first responder or a driver.
Or emergency medical responder. I think that's the official title now. EMR, emergency medical responder.
And we're gonna pay him $12 an hour.
I think that's right, if that's his recommendation.
Okay. And they're going to be limited to the number of hours, no more than 24 a week.
Sounds of things, it'll be hard to get somebody to do that many hours anyway.
Right, I
Yeah.
just want to
Right,
clarify.
right.
Because if I don't ask.
Right.
I'm gonna wanna know in 6
We
months.
have like a brief job description, so you don't run into any
Yeah.
issues, like, they can do this, they can't do this, or
Well, they have to stay within their
training.
training, yeah. So, I mean, we don't have that. We would make something up for that. It's just, it's just like we don't really have anything for the EMT. You should just stay within your category of what you're trained for.
Do you know if have anybody approached you that was interested in it, or?
I've had a couple of people, but, the thing is, I don't know how many we'll get, I really don't know, but we're not getting them otherwise, so,
Yeah.
I've got to try something, and, because we've had several times we've had to shut a truck down, or we're just with a, just one of the, Tahoe is a first response unit, but we just didn't have, we may have one person do that too, so, one, we get them to the scene and get them to start care, but we need the second one to have ambulance.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate you going through the effort on that. Hopefully.
And we've got one other thing, Michelle and I'll let Michelle start off and explain a little bit.
Hi, I'm talking from you guys.
I just thought she'd love to do this.
Okay, so a couple months ago, that we signed a contract with a company called Marathon to do the fuel tax reimbursement and the medical reimbursement, where we would just send them a few papers every month, and they would collect the money for us, we split it 50/50. Well, we received our first payment, and it was roughly $2,300 for back in 2019. So now we are running into the issue of how to split it, because it's one check and we don't have a line in our budget to take it out of. That we prepared for, because we're gonna get multiple checks a year. And that will just deplete our budget versus depositing the whole entire check. So we was hoping to get a line added to our budget to where we can just dedicate it to Malcolm's company.
So it's a non-funded line. It's just a place that we're gonna put the money and then you'll pay out their 50%.
Yes. So basically, we deposit the cash into this line,
Nope.
where we split it 50%.
Okay, what, I talked to Christie and the other day about this, and where the problem is when the check comes in, it comes into the Gibson County government. But what Christie was explaining to me, and see, this all started with good intention, trying to bring money back into the county, money we wasn't getting. But where the problem is for us is when we get this check, we, needless to say, we have to deposit it. There's our, for the treasurer, we have to give it to the treasurer. But we don't get any money back, and then for us to pay Malcom, we have to write out of a line in our budget, which we don't have really that much extra money. We want to find some money somehow and pay Malcom. So in other words, all the money goes into the general fund, but we're having to come up with money out of our budget to pay Malcom. And that could be several $1,000s over a year's time. And we have just enough to usually get by with everything. And so we're trying to figure out, is there a way that we can do this to where we can not deplete our budget, but somehow use that money? I know I talked to Christie, because she can explain to you more about it too.
The only way would be with an additional, right? I mean,
Yeah, do you have unappropriated account if you have money coming in to cover it? No,
Everything is appropriate.
okay.
So everything that gets deposited goes to the general fund, and then unless we appropriate it, we can't spend it. So basically, every month we'd have to do an additional.
I can create a new line for Malcolm. And then he could transfer some money, and then when they get low, ask for an additional. However, or we can ask for an additional now.
How often is Malicon expecting repayment?
We're figuring probably whatever quarter.
Yeah, at least. And right now, we went all the way back to 2019. So.
We're gonna be starting getting some money coming.
Yeah, so the first check was just for the first quarter of 2019. And they didn't start the rest of 2019 because they wanted to make sure we were gonna get paid our first amount.
So they're doing it quarterly looks. How often are they wanting their 50% is my question.
Right.
Are they wanting it quarterly, or can we pay them once a year, once we know a number?
I think it's quarterly.
I think it's quarterly because every amount is going to be
If it's
different.
2,000, they're getting 1,000, so over here, 5,000 covered, and start out with 5.
And
And
see,
then
the
line
thing
them.
is,
I think we do what she said, create the line, transfer into the line, and at the end of the year, clean it up with, because we're getting money in, so it's gonna be there eventually. If we need to clean it up, maybe we don't, but we'll see.
all I'm concerned about is, needless to say, when we start off with the good intentions, trying to bring more money.
No, and it's duly noted that there may be a line go lower than normal because of this scenario, but we also know that
5,000 for the year though?
Well, no, it'll be more than that because the fuel is just the 22 or 23 that we've got so far for the first quarter. And then Medicaid reimbursement will be a whole separate check.
how much you thinking there? Do we have an
I
estimate?
have no idea because they haven't even started on the Medicaid
Why don't
one
we
yet. because
do
all they do is
5,000, wait
21.
until we,
I don't think we do anything. I think we just do it right now, create the line, leave it, transfers, and then we'll clean it up later.
Keep track of it and let
Yeah.
us know how much.
Yeah, track what we should have.
Oh, I
I'm sure you guys will too, but
I think
this
if
is what we should have, this is what we should
transfer it
pay.
out And then, yeah, do the additional at the end of the year to cover back whatever.
So just go ahead and pay them out of our line and then.
No, they're gonna make a line.
Okay,
You're gonna pay them out of that line. We'll transfer into that line.
okay.
That way we can track it out of that line too. That'll be cleaner.
And then hopefully we'd have a better idea for next year to be able to do it.
That's the thing,
in
I know
advance.
that, and correct me if I think I'm wrong about this, but usually it seems like summer. So I think it's going to check to be higher on that when we get into the second and third quarter. I think we'll have a higher check on that, and then, but I don't know, I'm just assuming, but we're just busier usually during the summer.
You've let us know. We'll keep, you keep track of it and keep us posted throughout the year and
Thank you for doing that to bring more money in.
Do you
Yeah.
want to do a line for fuel and then a line for Medicaid, or do you want to do it all together? Because there'll be two separate checks. And I imagine the Medicaid checks will be higher than the fuel.
I'm gonna do whatever those two want.
So, yeah, we can track your revenue however you want. I just need to hear it from you guys. How you want
I would
to do it.
prefer a fuel line and a Medicaid line, that way you know how much actually fuel is bringing in versus what we're getting in Medicaid.
It's easy to do.
great. All right.
And just one thing to note, we had, this last year, we had busiest year, so there's one year we had busy. And, so it was-
Our bring-in amount was, our highest bring-in amount was like almost 1.6 a few years ago. And this year will be the second highest. So 1.6 was our highest, and this year will be our second highest. We have not put in.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Guess it rolled down here. Next item on business. Old business, I see nothing. New business, 2022 Gibson County Council appointments.
And Jeremy has.
Jeremy has them all.
Right, Jeremy does.
All right, he's back. Let him read that.
All right. Appointments for 2022, Community Corrections, Derek McGraw, E911 Advisory, Dan Beard, Gibson County Solid Waste, Craig Flug, Safety Committee, Dan Beard, which Dan does not believe that there is one. He hadn't been to a meeting on one or heard of one, but we're going to leave him on there anyway.
Those are my favorite boards.
Sheriff's Pension Board, Jeremy Overton and Jay Riley. The Evansville Urban Transportation System, I know Bill was on that. I'll probably save that for whomever his replacement is. Chamber of Commerce ex officio, Mike Stillwell has offered to do that and beat any previous attendance record that we have.
Got to get to 2.
Council Finance Committee, Jeremy Overton, Jay Riley, and Craig Flug again. Regional Economic Development, Jeremy Overton. Gibson County Development, Derek McGraw. Gibson County Redevelopment, Phil Young and Bruce McIntosh. Gibson County Economic Development, Derek McGraw. And then Mike Stillwell to the Gibson County Advisory Planning Commission. And then everyone has the meeting schedule in front of them. Does anybody see any
I hope we approve it because I just put it all on my calendar yesterday.
clicks or, okay.
I did add to it anticipated budget dates. Those are to be determined.
Yep, sorry about that. The other one is to accept the resignation of Will Niederhouse and appoint Gwen Hawkins, Park Board President.
I still move.
As our appointment to.
Gwen Hawkins is our.
1-year vacancy.
Okay, I was gonna question that earlier. Okay.
1-year vacancy. I'll second Dan's motion.
We have a motion from Dan, a second from Derek. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, 5-0.
Thank you for that reminder, Matt. But dates, do they look good?
I'll make a motion to approve 2022 meeting dates.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Personal services, transfer request. What?
Don't tell me I left that on my desk. Up here.
All right. Oh, boy. Nope, that's just this is a summary, right? Personal services transfer request. We have a request to transfer into Fund 2002 Superior Court admin fees. Sorry. In 2002 Superior Court admin fees, transfer from 010110 probation officer in the amount of $12.78 into perf insurance to cover deficit after transferring insurance. Fund 9122 community corrections, 010113 part-time overtime, the amount of $20,621.70 into 010117 insurance to cover year-end insurance, and then the Superior Court 1036 360118 probation administration assistant and 360118 probation administrative assistant for the two transfers. The first of which is going to juvenile probation officer, 360115 in the amount of 21186. And the second from the probation administrative assistant is 25709 that's going to 360130 probation officer to cover year-end salary to encumber.
I make a motion to approve all the transfers as read.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Then we have a load of additional. All right, you ready for this? 2,000 adult admin probation fund. They're requesting additional of 15,000 for judges supplement circuit superior magistrate. In the 8895 4D prosecutor incentive fund, $5,000 for the judges supplement for the prosecutor. Does not need additional approval, he said, but wanted to let us know where it was coming from. 2002 prosecutor deferral user fees, $5,000, judges supplement, chief deputy prosecutor. 1,000-43 general fund public defender, $5,000. Judges supplement for the public defender. 1,000-51 health, $5,000. That's for the public health nurse supplement. 4913 community corrections project income. That's $9,100 to increase salaries to reflect county raises for 2022. Are you stopping me?
So that's pending.
Those are pending. That's what I thought. We had added a supplement for 2020 for Diane's position.
2021, you mean?
Actually 21. And then in the changes we made last month, that was removed from the salary ordinance. Is that right? It was,
We just wanted, we had to ask for an additional, so we wanted to make sure we left it in there.
It's not in the budget for
No,
22.
it's not in the budget, so you have to have an additional. Because you said you were gonna do it for 2021 and 2022,
okay.
but
We didn't put it in the budget.
you didn't put it in the budget.
4913 is,
Project income,
yeah, that's dependent.
that would wait. Okay. And then, okay, so but the circuit court user fees is not.
Right.
2004 circuit court user fees, $56,000. Additional was done for 2021. 56,000 was unused and is still required for 2022. So we need to probably look at Diane separately. Do you guys want to go ahead and set that back up for 2022?
I do.
Is there any?
You want to read it out? I'll motion it.
So an additional appropriation in 1,000-51 health of $5,000 for public health nurse supplement.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
I might be able to get that out in a minute. If you want me to pull it out from that video. I've got some grant funds that we can use for personnel.
So should we wait?
So.
We'll still need an additional or not? Or you'd pay it directly from the grant?
Depends on what grant it is and.
The ones are reimbursement grant, I think that worked out. So the immunization ones are reimbursed.
If you think so, Diane, we can hold off on it.
Yeah, just hold on on it, because then we also have that.
I'm gonna put that in old business for next. Okay.
You wanna rescind
Sorry about
the-
that.
You want to rescind the motion?
Yes.
I'll rescind that motion.
I'll rescind the second.
Sorry, I just.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's undone then. Okay,
Never seen somebody ask for us to undo the raise, but whatever. Appreciate it.
appreciate it. All right, so what we're looking at are the 4 transfers for judges and public defenders and prosecutors supplements in the amount of 15,000, 5,000, 5,000, and 5,000. And then the circuit court user fees, 56,000 additional to reinstate what wasn't spent last year. I'll entertain a motion to approve those 5 transfers or add additional requests.
I'll make a motion to
Advertise.
advertise that you read them.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by McGraw. Any discussion, questions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. 5-0. Garmong has an invoice. What's it for? I think I know, but
Kay is wanting to know where to take the money from, what line to money from.
What's the service?
we have a pre-construction line in the budget.
No, so we have one.
What was what were the,
We have legal services, professional services, and architectural and engineering.
pre-construction services line?
Is this for the jail?
She can pay it out of that for the jail, yeah, in the jail budget.
And would you like, we have 200,000 in professional services, so we'll just transfer.
From there.
How much this is, maybe about 22,000
Okay,
to that from the 200.
okay. And then, Jason, I had, just from our discussions during budget sessions, we had 500,000 last year that we set aside and edit for jail stuff, and I don't think we used any of it. So that's kind of still in their fund. It wasn't appropriated for this year. It looks like probably the best place to use some of that money is to buy the monument property if everything goes through with it.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to kind of get an idea from the council if you feel like that's
I think that's a home run.
the right place to do it, because we want to use that 500,000 that they kind of committed for the next 3 or 5 years
Absolutely.
during this process. So
We got any firm numbers?
is that all of it public knowledge, or is it still pending probably?
It's still pending.
We afford it with basically what we just said. Okay.
Yeah.
We're technically gonna do it a little different than, but I'll kind of explain that.
I understand. Got
Good
it.
job to everyone involved in that process.
All right. The only other item I have a letter that I've written to the commissioners that I've sent copies to each of you and asked you to be prepared with any kind of comment or anything otherwise that you had at this meeting. I can give Andrea a copy of it. I can kind of move through it pretty quickly, but just want to go over the kind of timeline of how we got where we are with the negotiations with the union. I set this up after I saw the December 28th commissioners meeting. I just want to make some clarifications. Commissioner Fleetwood said that the commissioners have been open to the council on all changes. I don't agree with that statement. Commissioner Fleetwood assured me in early mid 2021 that we had entered a new era of commissioners and that we would be working together. I stayed in contact with Attorney Spindler. In July, he told me that he felt like we would have input on the negotiations, had some email exchange with him at that point in time. Craig Flug in August 16th, met with Rick Voiles, David Pond, and Ken Montgomery regarding EMS and explained that the county budget could not handle the changes that they were asking for in EMS all at once. They met again on August 31st, and that meeting ended with the same conversation, same result. On August 19th, I asked Attorney Spindler again for an update on negotiations, and I asked for an expected timeline. In that email, I followed up on 8/26 and got a return email from Attorney Spindler saying that he left a voicemail for Union Representative Rick Voiles. That was the last I heard, and I think the last that I don't know that you had heard back from him either. I forgot which meeting. It was October or November. I sent you an email about that, but I didn't. I may have sent it to the wrong address. I reminded Commissioner Montgomery at, I believe, the November meeting in here, in the minutes, that they needed to consult with the council prior to approving changes to the contract. That was either November or October. I apologize for not having that. I never received any information or communication from Kenny Montgomery regarding the proposed contract changes. Even though I asked repeatedly, I didn't receive a copy of the proposed changes until December 7th email from Commissioner Key. My understanding is that Kenny had already approved them and the Highway Department had already voted to approve the changes. Commissioner Montgomery said in the December 28th meeting that Councilman Overton was unaware of the changes made in the Townsend era and that there was all take and no give in that instance. I believe some concessions were made by the county at the time, but regardless, since that time, health insurance costs have increased by more than $110 a week. So over $5,700 a year. And that's been completely absorbed by the county. At that time, the highway supervisor made $40,000 a year. It's now $50,644. And since that time, salaries for highway employees largely have increased by at least $2.19 an hour. So that's about $4,500 annually that they've increased during that time period. I believe that those salary ordinances and the ability to continue to pay such a large share of premiums were largely made possible by Mr. Townsend's negotiations in 2012. The council fears that costs associated with the proposed changes will make us unable to provide raises and/or continue to cover increases in insurance coverage in the future. Employees and union leaders should be informed of those consequences prior to the commissioner signing a contract that includes future increases in insurance. Commissioner Fleetwood tells me he would like to see us have 70 employees in the highway department. With the current revenue streams, that's impossible. We have very little, if any, we would have very little, if any, money to even buy materials and equipment if we were to move back in that direction. Commissioner Fleetwood also disagreed with the council having legal counsel of their own. We're one of very few councils in the state who do not hire their own legal counsel. We've largely avoided it in the past, but I don't believe that we can afford to any longer. At issue, adding the following 4 items would add extra difficulty to filling shifts in EMS, sheriff, jail, and having full crews for the highway department. A was eliminating a requirement for a doctor sign off on more than 2 sick days. I believe that's ripe for abuse. I believe the language change said that this would be left to the discretion of the highway superintendent, but I believe the auditor should have overreach, or the auditor's office should have overreach in that matter, and it shouldn't be up to the highway supervisor. Taking major medical to 6 weeks from 4 and including spouses and children, combined with being able to take those days in 1-day increments, is going to cause a lot of difficulty and is also ripe for abuse. I was comfortable with adding paternity leave. I didn't hear from any of you guys on that, or I don't know I don't see any problem with the paternity leave, but the changes to be able to take those types of days for spouse and children seemed excessive to me. And I'm, of course, okay with the bereavement change policy too, as long as you guys are to add days to the bereavement. And then, of course, they added 2 personal days and added 2 holidays. To me, A and B, the elimination of the doctor sign off and the 6 weeks, including spouse and children, are unacceptable to the council. So in my letter, I'm going to ask, could you please provide the county council with the following information so we may move forward with decisions regarding the 2022 salary ordinance. We need to see proposed contracts with changes highlighted for clerical, EMS, and highway. We'd like a timeline for when the commissioners expect to have the handbook updated, outlining how the new changes will impact non-union employees. Again, in that meeting, Commissioner Fleetwood said that the commissioners were working for both sides and working hard for everyone. But I'm still asking, what did the county taxpayers get out of the negotiation process. So with you guys' permission, I'll send this to Jason for dissemination to the council or the commissioners.
Can I get a clarification
Certainly.
on the sick days on the time off? What was that?
Oh, the sick days,
2 days they had to.
they added a stipulation, they removed the stipulation that having a sick leave of more than 2 days, you needed to have a doctor's letter of explanation for why. They took that line, the line out that said that they would require sign off from a doctor on leave of more than 2 days.
I don't have a problem with,
Problem with-
I don't have a problem with that. I've been on both sides of the fence. I was a union employee at one time. I was a department head. At that time, we just left it to department head discretion. If you know that somebody's sick, if they're abusing it, let them use up their sick days, and then they don't have sick days left, then you terminate, then you write them up for,
But that doesn't happen.
well, that's not my point, but that's what should happen. You know, if they abuse the sick days and they don't have their sick days left and they're still taking time off, then I just don't think that's fair. If somebody's sick that you,
The entire county has it in the employee manual. The master clerical has it in the employee manual or in their contract. It's 3 days. You can do 3 days, and after 3 days, you have to have a doctor's excuse. Am I correct, Tim? Yeah, the highway had it 2. I agree, move it to 3, but require that doctor's excuse.
and it goes back to what Mike said about paid time off.
Yes, if it's more than
3 days, have a doctor's slip.
It should all be uniform anyway.
It should all be uniform, I agree.
And as far as the maternity leave, that's included in FMLA,
Right,
Unpaid?
unpaid.
unless they have time to
Okay.
use.
It'd be the same with maternity, correct? They'd have to take FMLA, if they got time, they can use it, they don't get paid otherwise.
On maternity leave, we get paid for, yeah. Yeah, it's major medical. Yeah, it's never actually said paternity, and the problem was somebody wanted to take some time off to take care of their kids, and they said that they wanted paternity leave. Well, this person did not understand that paternity leave is not to take off to take care of your kids. It's when you have a baby. There's a difference.
That probably needs to be clarified in the contract too, Jason. If that's going to be included. Okay, so, anybody have any objection to?
I mean, I've been talking to Jason some also, and we all need to come together. I mean, they put out what their plans are, and we can put out what we can afford to pay for, and that way we can all work this out where everybody's not, all employees are not in limbo, what's gonna happen with their.
For sure. And that's why I'm asking them to get us up to speed, because as far as I know, there still have been no union negotiations with EMS. So I don't think there's any reason to have an executive session until they have proposed contracts to put in front of us. That's why I'm asking for that information as quickly as possible,
Yeah.
so we can move forward.
It might be better to reach out to them again and maybe make sure that they understand where we're coming from before they do a contract.
Yeah, that's the.
They do that, but we've done it all year long.
Jason, do they have planned contracts that you know of, or what they're planning on doing or anything, or are they just?
Highway and clerical have already voted.
As far as approving the contracts.
I mean, no, on like the EMS, the ones they've not talked to yet, have they got a plan, or they just gonna go?
Schedule, I talked to Rick coming into this morning's meeting to make sure nothing was scheduled, and I talked to David as well.
So there's nothing.
I mean, does the commissioners have a plan on what they're gonna bring to the table? Or are they just gonna go in and wing it?
It's gonna be, if Kenny's doing the negotiating, it's gonna be consistent with what's been already negotiated with clerical and highway department. Other than that, I don't have any other direction to provide you, just that I expect consistency there between the three.
Yeah, so hopefully we'd have a response well before the February meeting from them that would put us in a position to get moving on that salary ordinance.
I don't care to meet a special session if they get.
For sure.
Get,
I think executive session's on the docket out there, but like I said, if we don't have,
it's kind of hard to talk about something they don't even know what they're gonna do.
I think we special meet as quick as we can. I mean, holding the salaries hostage here, basically. But going into a contract that may affect our budget that we can't afford.
yeah.
Let's get it done. The employees are the ones getting affected here. I
The
mean,
problem is though, Derek, we don't know what
I know, and that's
we
what
have
I'm
to,
saying.
yeah, they'll have to, that's,
Anything that directly affects the monetary value in a contract, we don't have so much money, so. And now the salaries are being choked off right now because of that, so. It's communication at the end of the day. That's all it is. It's communication.
okay, so I will, I'll put a line on that and get it on letterhead and send a copy to Jason for dissemination, as I said. I don't know, is there any other new business?
I have some business.
Oh, I should have remembered that you were over there.
We introduced that the Fort Branch Library is going to be doing an addition. I was here in error. It had to get in the newspaper, had to be advertised first. It's been advertised, and so I'm here to introduce it again. That's it.
Okay, thanks. Sorry I didn't call on you earlier.
No problem.
Okay. Laura Hoppy, yeah,
Mhm.
okay.
That $64,000 that we got in admin fee, county, and then because it's an additional appropriation, I think that money can be taken out of that. Remember I sent you that the other day? I think it's gonna be taken out of that.
That 5,000. You know what phone number that is?
So.
8122.
8122.
You want us to go ahead and take action on that then? We'd have to put an additional in 8122? Is that how that would work?
I usually don't.
Okay,
Because they gave us.
Reimbursable grant.
No, we already got it.
Oh, okay.
It was from when we gave shots back in, the admin fees from when we started that back. And it can't compensate wages, but it's just as an additional. And because I managed that grant and stuff, I think we would utilize that fund. We'll look into it more.
that sounds great. If you can find out for us, that's wonderful. Mike?
One thing that wasn't mentioned on there is the comp time. Is there any discussion on the comp time there? On the union contract, yeah.
On that, I don't know that we can do anything except make it clear to them that they have, it's gotta be, we have to have the money, like, it's gotta fit within the budget.
It's the way I understand it, and Jason, correct me when I talk to Kenny, if one of the highway employees works over in a pay period, they have the option to bank it or take the overtime pay, which we would have overtime pay built in to their budget. We're gonna have to do some special record keeping on that if they decide to bank it, because we have got to book that somehow
But it's,
to show that it's coming out of the comp time
Otherwise.
or the overtime.
Liability.
Yeah, uh-huh.
I also with the comp time, I think there needs to be something in there where. Like if everybody has 40 hours, whatever, at whatever department. Departments still have to run. it should be something in there where it can be denied and they have to take overtime at the end of the year because they have to use it by the end of the year and everybody wants off.
Or they get paid out for it. 240, isn't it? 240.
My problem is I can't have a guy come to me, say, I want my comp time paid. I've decided I want my comp time paid. There's gotta be some stipulations.
That's what I'm saying. There's got to be language in there saying that the department still has to run. Where if you want comp time, that's fine, but you're gonna have to work it out, just like everything else. You can't just, like if sheriff's department, all the jailers that last 240 hours of the year, they say, we're gonna take off the rest of the year. We just let the inmates run the jail.
Well, the thing of it is, I don't want,
It's not in this one.
It isn't, it wasn't a solid waste contract, yeah. That it was at the subscription, I could only, on up to 2-3 employees off, and then no more than that at any given time.
That's why I hope to see the whole contracts. All I saw was an excerpt of the changes so far.
the thing I'm trying to say is I don't want 35 different employees coming at 35 different times saying they want paid out for their comp time. So if they're gonna get paid out for their comp time, there should be a time when that's paid out.
At the
Don't
end
you
of the
agree?
year, yeah.
Not, I want paid this time, I don't want
Do
paid.
you have a line for comp time though?
No.
So would you normally pay it out of overtime or have you had to?
That's what it is.
That's what
That's what it is.
Well, it is.
But what they're
It
saying,
isn't, it's not. It needs to be differentiated.
well, for banking purposes, balances, but if you're gonna pay it, we were either gonna pay them overtime or we're gonna let them bank it. At the end of the day, if we're gonna pay it, it would have come out of the overtime bank anyway, as far as dollars. But that's what Mike's saying. We need to say, all right, this person didn't get paid at this time, but we still need to move this overtime money into a comp time bank money.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So that we don't,
but they need to know,
Otherwise, it's unfunded liability.
Absolutely.
yes, they need to know that even though they put that in the contract, if there's not enough money in the budget, they'll have to cut overtime at the end of the year, or they need to keep track of it and not go over budget, because I don't see this group.
Well, I think purposes
Given
of
the
tracking it, you can put a dollar figure behind every comp time hour that's out there because it's overtime. So it's the overtime rate per employee. This guy is owed this amount of money, take that amount of money out of the
And put it.
however you want to look at it, move it, physically transfer it into another line for payout.
but
Or-
then I've asked the question too, to Kenny, and I said, we've got to have guidelines before we implement. this.
Absolutely.
If we- The, the employee banks their time this week or this pay period. Month down the road, they decide, oh, I want some of that banked money. Can they get that banked money then, or is it bank all year long, or is it?
I think that's a labor law, somebody's question there, because if they're owed it, they're owed it. And I don't think we can withhold it.
I agree, but they cannot say, I want my comp time this Friday. I want to be paid for my comp time this Friday. There's got to be guidelines, because I can't just have 35 guys every other Friday say, well, I want my comp time. There's like once a month.
Right.
Some sort of guide, I'd rather.
I see what you're saying. I mean, yeah.
Unless things have changed in the private sector, you had to pay the comp time within that pay period. You are not allowed to
Look at.
well, like out the plant, if I had one of the office employees say worked over a couple hours, then they had to take that time that week or get paid for it in that pay period. Now, if it was on a Friday that they worked over and we've already processed the payroll, I would let them take it by Tuesday or Wednesday of next week. But it has to be in that paid out in that pay period. I'm not sure the government, though, if it's different or if it still follows the same as the private sector. And I threw that out to Kenny also, so I don't know.
Well, I think if they're able to, can they be at the executive session?
Yes.
Auditors representatives? I think that would be, important to be able to try to get all the moving parts together, so. Yeah, I did not address that in here. I had planned on making sure they realize that when the budget's gone, the budget's gone. So they've got to be conscious about that. Comp time, just the same way they would be at overtime. They can't come to us in December and say, hey, we need 100,000 for this comp time. And I don't want the commissioners to come back and say, well, we didn't realize, the law. That we can't obligate money that's not been budgeted, so.
Comp time budget is in the overtime line item.
I agree that.
I mean, that's
turned in
that simple.
every
It is,
day.
but when overtime and comp time money's gone, if they're.
Right, then they went over their budget.
They've got to.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely
We
agree.
have them sign off every pay that they're, which is what Mike says we're gonna do, that they want overtime or comp time. If they sign off, then we will physically transfer.
Into a
that
comp bank
time
money.
Into a line.
Right,
I think
So
that's
that
best.
overtime
Yeah.
budget is,
and it's funded.
Stays up to date.
And then they know exactly where their dollars are too, though.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I want the employee to sign off on it because they've got a rule that if there's something wrong with their paycheck, then they want us to pay them out in 24 hours. And I want something in writing so that the employee doesn't come back and say, no, I didn't mean that, or I didn't want that. No, that's for that pay period, because it takes a while to process all the pay and everything. Hopefully, our new software is going to help out. But no, we're getting.
Is the handbook for the highway department clear on how their schedule works? I know they drive vehicles. They've got to be at the shop at a certain time, but they get to leave whenever they need to get home. I mean, really, is that written down anywhere or that's just at the discretion of?
yeah, but explain
doesn't work for him, right? It's just his office.
Jason, are you familiar with how?
No, what's in the handbook on the,
Well, I know that they get paid for drive time and then there's a 30-minute something out there that Steve Bottoms always said was cleanup time that we have to pay them from the union. I'm just wondering, are we paying, if somebody has to stay the extra 30 minutes that they're already getting paid for, are we paying them overtime in addition to that time that they're staying the extra 30? I don't know the answer, but it's a mess. I think everybody can agree to that. How it's set up. So it would just need to be more clear. I mean, I think that's it. So. Yeah, how's that, Andrea?
Did you get all that?
I got a lot of it.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved.